in my program, I just needed 2 persons minimum, so I just exceeded it. It's doubling. Thank you so much.
Oh,
So,
take a screenshot to make sure you hand in the assignment and
oh yeah, how do I
evidence.
do that? I don't know how to
Just,
do that.
I don't know, like,
By the way, can you give me permission of this session, Howie? So that I have to show some slides, 1 or 2. Okay, so let's bring the official first session of focusing being started. Yeah. Boom. Thank you very much for coming. Barbara, Diana, Winnie, Howie. Since I understand that Barbara has some knowledge about focusing, can you share with us what is your impression of focusing?
You know, to be honest, I haven't looked at this book. I found it because I recently moved. And, what I recall from it is it complements, it's very, very similar in its modality to Tao science. It actually is similar to a lot of, but it came out quite revolutionary at the time. And it's very, it's like laser light. You just follow that laser light around the body and you feel
Wow,
what's happening.
that's a great
So you
image
just
that you
have to
gave me.
follow the feeling. And I think where the challenge can come in is some people don't feel. They're not used to being in the body, feeling, a tenderness here or so I think for me, what it brings up is the connection back to ourselves, the connection into our body. Feelings often occur where there are no words. How do you feel? Don't know. I don't know. But it can have a color, it can have a shape, and it definitely can migrate around the body. So that's, if you'd asked me that back in, what was it, 1978, I probably wouldn't have given you that kind of an answer. But given, different sort of awarenesses, I don't know if that is what focusing is. I'll leave that to you to explain.
That's amazing, Barbara. That's a really good intro to what focusing is. Oh, Winnie?
yeah, so I want to share, I don't know if this is a focusing technique, but when Barbara said, how do you feel? Because I'm kind of very obedient and very coachable. The second you said, how do you feel? I turn my gaze inward, and immediately there's like tears that just want to burst out of me. And I notice that I'm in the Sophia Sundari Isis Temple training. And, like I will be like people pleasing and wearing my mask and trying to be a stand-up comedian. And then the moment the teacher says, check in, how do you feel? And then I can just like, blah! And then just like the tears just come immediately because it's like, how do you feel? All of a sudden gave me a permission. Okay, just put away the mask and like, put away what you think other people want to hear and what your brain wants to say, just go in what you feel. And then this immense pain is just like erupting like a volcano. And another time I was in a hot seat coaching where she's like, okay, Winnie, how do you feel? And I said, I don't know. I don't have any words. She's like, check in. And I checked, and again, the tears just erupted like a volcano. And I love what Barbara said, because sometimes there are just no words, no explanation, but yet when I turn inward, it's just like the laser And I don't know if it's because we have all these master shop light balls and treasures and like, yeah, 内观, all this internal treasure, but the moment I go inside, it just take 1 second and then the volcano just comes out.
Wow. That you guys, you're making me this job pretty easy. I don't have to teach anything. If I talk with Diana, she will answer like Pakistan and Howie already. Because um, so that's exactly it. I'll give just a brief context about this. This focusing, it's just a name for something that is very ancient, of course. Winnie, your sensitivities and perhaps code to connect. So let me just check Diana and Barbara's. Your sensitivity and perhaps code, quote unquote, to connect self-work. All roads lead to healing. Exactly. That's it. That's what I was about to say. Focus is just a word, it's just a label for something that many people found throughout the ages through many other names. It's nothing special about focusing. What focusing the word requires, it does require a special attention to something that we constantly or generally speaking we neglect. Exactly what how Winnie was saying, like da 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 da, you put the mask, you just do what you're doing, and then suddenly someone like, check. And what happens there when someone actually instructs you to check? What happens in that moment? You are like forced, so to speak, or guided to bring your attention to something that normally is not in your awareness in your daily life. And if someone gives you the permission or the space or time for that checking in, you go to someone else, something else, which is generally speaking is much more deeper than the usual mask that we put in our daily lives. Even our own language and the way we communicate goes way much deeper. And Eugene Janlin, the creator of focusing, found that it was a he was you're right, Pastor. He was a philosopher, but not in the usual kind. He was very interested in human development, and he decided to take the psychotherapy training with Carl Rogers. But he was like this, he created a huge shift in the psychotherapy movement, and he started training, and he was like having clients already, and he started to notice some people would progress in his inner psychotherapy, and some stagnate, and he wondered why. And he started to tape the sessions, and he found a commonality. The people who progress in her psychotherapy would do like in more or less after 3 or 4 sessions, they would check what they were saying and correcting themselves to say it more authentically, just like this. Oh yeah, I went out with my boyfriend, and he was upset with me, but that's okay. This is a general. But if the person would say something like, "Yeah, I went out with my boyfriend," and dot dot dot, she would stop, and that was not good at all. I could feel, and then I don't know how to say this, and this uncertainty, this I don't know how to say this, and then stop again. It becomes, instead of like the beautiful sentences, quick sentences, like and telling the whole story very beautifully, but no inner access, they would stop and they would correct. No, no, it's not exactly anger that it's not that I was angry with him. It's more like dot dot dot, like a narrow in my stomach. And he was like, and then if if Jen would reflect just back with no judgment, just a narrow in your stomach, yeah, and they're not a narrow in my stomach, more like I don't know if I was not. as if I was not supposed to be there. There's something that's not linear, and then suddenly it pops up and it goes deeper, and the insights of that situation goes deeper. It doesn't follow a logical sequence. The person would allow herself to check back what she was actually saying to something that he would call a felt sense of the whole situation and get there a deeper meaning of what's really happening. And he found a way to just make company to that, respecting it, because it's very easy to kill it with a judgment, an interpretation, or, oh, you must feel that, or do that to resolve this issue. Just be there, and that would evolve. And so that was the birth of the focusing process, the very fine-tunement of that kind of sense that it's not easily translatable into words. And so you have to get like back and forth between the symbols that words create and the feeling. Just boom, 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 boom. And allow yourself to have that. That is the what the focusing means, this special kind of allowance, kind of a reception to go deeper in usually in your body, in your senses of your body. And the actual this what you create in language. And sometimes with very unusual, you can invent words. You can invent, if you like, you become like almost like a poet because you can invent words and break through the patterns that the words are supposed to mean or a situation is supposed to mean. You break through to something more authentic to yourself and to the situation. So, so that's, I think I have a picture here with the adjectives help a lot. Barbara is saying it's true, but you, you don't need to be a poet or you just need to feel, and even if you don't have a word, just this allowance to go deeper into the zone, this region of yourself that normally is not accessed is already something incredible. Let me see if I have some uh, that a graphic or yes, uh, yeah, here. Okay, so how can I share this? Yeah, here you sharing, honor the space. We're going to do that. So this is like can you see it? This is like a visual image. Oops, a visual image of what we're talking about. In one sense, we have here in the on the right, you have the explicit, the conscious, the explicit, the feelings, the sensations, the thoughts, which are on the surface level of our life. That's what is seen, the visible, the in Masterclass language, the yo world. That's like the just the tip of the iceberg you can see. But actually, there's something in this word is very important to focus. That's something that's implicit. When something is explicit, it's explicit, is visible, but it doesn't exhaust like the Tao, doesn't exhaust the implicit. For example, I'm trying here to explain what focusing is. I try to do my best explicitly to explain what focusing is, but it always escapes me. The only thing I can say that I'm trying to symbolize the best I can, but it's implicit. I cannot really define it. I cannot really point to it. It's implicit in our experience, in everything that our relationships, our thoughts have an explicit dimension and an implicit dimension that move the thought further or the action further. There's a message there that's much deeper than just a. Have you ever felt, for example, that you cannot explain things perfectly, or the way you want to convey the message is never perfect. Uh, the reason is that it's meant to be that way because the implicit is always larger than the explicit. We need to refer to what is implicit in the message and kind of let go of it and not try to exhaust into an explicit framework. And that would be in the masculine language, that would be the like the controlling, if you want to create an explicit that embrace the whole implicit, you want to control the thing and you don't let it breathe. Yeah, it's exactly as Lao Tzu says in the first line of Tao Te Ching. The Tao that can be explained cannot really be the Tao, or the name that can be named cannot be the real name. It's I feel the parallel are very striking. It refers to something that really cannot be named, can always be felt. But we try nevertheless, with approximations. How, and so I will interrupt here. So the process is always like a zigzag between the explicit stuff and what we have implicitly here, the felt sense. And enough of talk. Let's experiment about this so that you can feel it. You can do it as a group. We are a short group, so I think there is no need for dyads or triads. Let's do an experiment. I will ask you to think about something in your memories, something a good memory and something that is not so good. I try to find it. Take a while, just go into it's a very special attention. How can we recall memories? It's a very mysterious process, right? You just go someone else in your body and trying to identify like a good memory and also a bad memory. And once this process is more or less defined and done for you, you just raise your hand, see if you already found it. So Winnie already found it. Barbara already found it. Diana also found it, and how. So I will ask you to share here in the group the memory, but, and this is very important, you do not share the contents of the memory. You share what you feel. You just keep the memory for yourself, the usual narrative, but I want you to taste the feeling of it and see actually the difference. It's like tasting food, food, some food tastes like this and some other food tastes like that. I want that kind of texture. So who is going to do first? Okay, Winnie.
Actually, I didn't get any memory. I immediately experienced everything and felt sense. The first thing I felt was a choking sensation in the collarbone, like somebody's trying to choke me. And then it played out like a movie. The next thing I know, I feel like I want to vomit from here. And the next thing I know, it felt like there were shackles around, like kind of like slavery, around my left ankle, like somebody is like shutting me
Wow.
down. So I'm being choked, I want to vomit, and somebody is like locking me, so I can't move forward.
So that's the bad memory, right? Or it's not
Yeah,
related to any
no,
memory.
and then I immediately started like birthing and clearing everything. I don't know,
You're saying-
I mean, I'm really good at following instruction, but you said a good memory and a bad memory, and immediately it went straight to like bam, 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 bam.
and you have any idea what that refers to without telling me?
No, I have like my third eye is like the void. There's no story, no memory, no happy, no bad, but just like a self-cleaning oven. So
Okay.
The second I listened to the command, I immediately like, and then like, I immediately
Okay.
started cleaning already. It's just very
Wow.
automatic, yeah.
This is the tricky thing doing focusing with already spiritual spiritual advanced beings. They tend to quit the process right away. But let's go slowly. So let's assume that's a bad memory, of course. Well, in at least in our human categories, right? Can you find out something that is actually very, very simple but positive, just to counterbalance?
Yeah, something that makes me wanna go like yippee, and then there's like little butterflies in the stomach.
Okay, that's perfect. So, but you see, but it has a subject, right? You know exactly what it is.
No,
No?
I don't know, I don't know about the story that makes me happy or sad, I just immediately only felt senses available to me.
It's very
She went
specific.
completely, she went completely into her like chaotic feminine energy, you know, only feeling, no more
Exactly.
mind.
Just skip
So we need, I have to work with you one-on-one to find out those kind of things.
Are you
You're
selling
more,
me a
you're
private
more.
session, you will? Yes, I will
But
book you.
that's normally, let's put the general, normally there is a relationship between a topic in your human stuff in the senses. The fact that Winnie is not relating to something doesn't mean it's not there, because typically it's there, but it's not coming. That's okay. But it's the phenomena here doesn't come out of thin air. It's always something already categorized and throughout all many lifetimes, and create imprints, and um, and it creates emotions. So that's the fabrication of the human being is like that. So it has to have content, but it doesn't really matter right now. But the access is perfect, the sense of the butterflies in the stomach, the chains, and so many adjectives that my English doesn't follow. But it's really perfect, Winnie. Thank you. That's the kind of thing that we want to tap into. And one characteristic of focusing that sets this process apart from many others, and it doesn't care so much about the content, but actually the process between this felt sense and the content. So we're not like, oh, it's because of your boyfriend such and such. We're not looking for solutions. We're looking, and that's the yin part of this practice, as opposed to the yang instruction. Go this way, do this kind of, because this part is also needed. I'm not saying it's not needed, but this one is just to hold space in a non-judgmental way. We don't want to fix anything for the moment. We just want to understand it deeper, and with that understanding can create like inner solutions, but very spontaneous, like tung tung, always about this haha moment. So Diane, I'm curious about you.
Okay, so the happy memory, okay, I will describe it without giving the context. I'm excited, like I feel jumpy and I can't stay still. Um, and I feel like this
I'm
expansion.
jumping, expansion.
Hmm?
Yeah, I'm just
I
repeating
feel,
what you say.
yeah, I feel like this expansion that kind of um, like I'm flying. It gives me like this impression like I'm levitating, not flying. You know,
Oh,
like I can't feel the ground.
so
Um,
whenever you feel that topic of the good memory, you get all these things.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that's beautiful.
yeah.
And what about the other one, just to make the contrast experience?
Um, for that one, it's like me personally, what I'm experiencing is um like I want to reject it. Like there's more visual and there's less feeling.
Okay, there's
Um,
less, more visual, less feeling.
and it's like a hit in the stomach if I would have to focus on the feeling. It's like somebody kicks me in the stomach.
Wow.
Um, and and I'm confused and I don't understand what's happening.
Hitting on the stomach, confusion, and more visual, less feeling as if you're resisting something.
In the first instance, yes, I'm
The process.
resisting the memory. And then if I consciously go in it, then this is the rest. Like
Wow.
with a kick in the gut and confusion and then pain in the chest.
So
Yeah.
with that kind of isn't it clear how nuanced and how different the shapes, as obvious as that might seem, as a good memory and the bad memory, how does that land in the body? Like as the shapes are totally different. It feels like anything did surprise you in that?
Actually, now that you're saying what I noticed is that how much heavier it feel like it feel the negative memory feels heavier in my body, and when I put myself in the positive memory, it's like again the levitating type of sensation
Wow.
that I have, like more freedom to expand, while negative is more like contracting for me.
Wow, that's beautiful. One of the things it's in focus is very important is to keep a right distance between the stuff that we connect with in ourselves. Like we're like this empty vessel. And I will say often that to create a space between, we neither repress it nor go into that and explore emotionally what it is. We just keep the right distance. Can you do that? Like with both, can you feel yourself as an empty vessel? For this
Mhm.
too, and everyone for that matter. Can you do that with both of your memories? Hmm, okay. Barbara, thank you, Diana.
So how deep you do how deep do you want this to go? Because um my channels are open, so I can feel it, I can see it, I'm back there, I can describe it.
Yeah, so this is just an intro.
That's it. The
That's an intro.
surface.
So just give it like a little, taste of
Yeah.
it, just a little bit of
Okay,
both.
so for the
That's
positive.
and I'm sorry, Barbara. That's one of my visions about focusing it because channels are open, treasured, and everything. We
Mhm,
can we can create the possibility of some huge insights
mm,
and huge soul communication out of that felt sense. That's my goal at another, but not today, but
mhm.
so Barbara. So the sorry,
So the
keep
positive would be freedom, a sense of no boundaries. I can
okay.
feel um, prickliness on the backs of my legs and all over my back and my head, and um, I've got movement, and I feel these prickliness as I move.
Hmm.
I can smell a richness, a depth from my surroundings, and I can also feel the warmth and the airiness of things.
So beautiful. So you get it. Can you take the right distance, even good or bad? As Master Shah says, it's all illusion. This is cute.
Yes, yes.
Like here, and then the other one. Can you just give us a taste?
The other one is set in the same location,
Oh, it's the same
but
location.
it's more movement. And then there is an impact in one spot on my body
Imagine that.
that is intense pain. It's like a point of pain, and then it
The pain.
migrates out. It migrates out as the pain starts to go out further, and the emotions that come up are I knew that was there. Like I knew that was there. So like there's an awareness. Oh, like I knew that was there. Um,
So there's this
but
sense
it
of, oh, I knew it was
happened
there.
anyways. That's just a part of the action, and sometimes it happens, right?
Hmm.
So there's like
Beautiful.
freedom and um, yeah, complete freedom and a sense of connection, and then exploring that and greater movement, and then sort of the yin and the yang of it.
Hmm.
Something yang happened that
Yeah.
had some intense feelings with it. Yeah. I don't
Wow.
know if that's the right way to describe it, but
I think that's beautiful. And as we know here already, there is no such thing as the right way to describe.
yeah.
But do you see what Barbara did here on the negative part? She just checked often. She paused. Oh, it's like a point, as if, oh, I know it's there. She, she was not looking for some concrete content on it, and I know it's there. So she creates like a holistic sense of the topic. She knows exactly. She can describe it. She can go into some very fine details. But for her, it's enough to say, "I know it's you're there," and she knows what implicitly what she's talking about,
Mm.
and it's enough for us to make company to that. It's like ah, and it kind of creates the right distance. That there is a wisdom in that at the same time, because you're not controlled by it. You keep like a distance. Uh, the difference between this kind of approach to emotions and our topics is that in emotion, if felt sense is not an emotion or a thought. In an emotion, it's like or yeah. You kind of narrow your pathway to a specific emotion. An emotion is like is stuck in some kind of belief, and it creates a narrow window and you can feel it in your body. But if you take a step back and you feel the whole thing as a whole, we used to say like, think about that, all that, like all that, quote unquote, all that. When you say all that of that stuff, you're not stuck in the emotion. You go wider, and that's the way you can identify a felt sense from an emotion. A felt sense, not an emotion. A felt sense is a wisdom that you create more space around the emotion without denying it, but you create like it's a more present feeling of the whole thing. Um, hmm. So what do I have here? So this Howie, do you want to share a little bit your own memories?
Yes, thank you. Actually, when you mentioned the presence, I guess that's what it is, right? It's just a feeling of presence. I noticed that when Barbara went to that implicit realm, uh, I resonated highly. Suddenly, I felt the presence more. It helped me drop into it. Um, so for me, when I'm experiencing that good memory, I have feelings of tenderness, vulnerability,
Hmm.
and there's an openness to this invisible embrace,
Mhm.
and at certain times I can feel my breath quivering because it feels like the heart is fluttering a little bit.
Oh.
Very subtle.
Beautiful.
And for the, I didn't get a chance to go into the I guess the negative position.
We don't like that.
I can do so right now, I guess. So there's this instant change of hardness.
Mhm.
And closed off.
Now you close off. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
the heart is like clenched. And there feels to be weight there. Which makes it harder to breathe.
Mhm.
And a lot of pressure in my head, probably because my mind is trying to control the situation.
Okay. Mhm. Wow. Thank you. So this is just like a taste. The process is much deeper. You may wonder how helpful it is to find this felt sense. You just notice and that's it. Not exactly. For example, when I first introduced focusing to Howie, and at the retreat we were in the apartment, and it's just like only the space of the non-judgmental place, and only just not trying to find solution, being with him, and he's just exploring this kind of things. He was just releasing. Tum, tum. I think you can testify. It's just like something about this non-judgmental but truly not non-judgmental field creates a kind of a compassionate field because you're really connecting in presence that allow us to touch these kind of things, symbolize it, recognize it, and find other aspects of it that we're not seeing it before. And it's saying, book, book. And you may recognize this from the signs. Ruling, I am struck by what Ruling is finding. It's becoming so close, as Barbara was saying, so close to the focusing process that I already told her. That is just, it's so similar. The difference is that she she still have like this scientific young approach. She wants to resolve the thing right away, or something like the you connect with it and you somehow you release and you go to the spiritual heart. I don't remember the terms. I have the terms here. Maybe Barbara knows, right? Name it. No, yeah. There's a kind of a thing that still, but it will be easy. It still lacks the relational component to it. The thing that we're not in a hurry to solve anything. We're just there. And that aspect of it is fine-tuned throughout many decades since this book was launched. And it is proved that this yin approach is very complementary with the yang approach that is still prevalent in master Shastra teaching generally and this ruling process, which is also needed. I'm emphasizing that it's not the question of either one or the other. It's just sometimes we need more space, more time, more time, more time, and a feeling that, yes, I'm here with you no matter what. And that is like this. That's why this process it's becoming a favorite for the feminist movement because it's very yin in our language it's very yin. Um, so that's that. So we already, I don't know, Hina, are you here or is just sometimes I speak for myself. Sometimes I click on sessions and I'm not really there. Hina? Yes, that seems to be the case. Ta-da-da, ta-da-da, Hina, Hina, na-da-da. No, no Hina. So I will move right away because we already got this basics. I will move for the. I'm not sure if we could do like a practice like this diets practice. We can watch. Maybe we do a demo. I will show you first the complete steps of focusing. Mm, let me share the screen again. Dun. Okay, I have it here. Okay, here. Can you see it? So yeah, this is the complete process of focusing. We don't need to follow this in any order, but once we find this first step, once we find the issue, and we will see how we can connect with how can we find the issue. The issue when we do a focusing practice is something that it can. It's not something. Oh, I need to work something of my past. That no, it has to really be present, alive in the moment. Like we would say, karma activated, and it's there. It's alive. It's not something that I know I need to work with logically. It's there in your body. You feel it. So you got the issue right there. And so what we've done so far is that we reach this issue and the felt sense of it. And we also create handles to it. For example, Barbara was saying, oh, this pointing, this I know you were there. It's what we call a handle. It's like something that we create like a sentence or a word that completely connects with the topic experientially. So if this fourth step resonate with your body, you can check in, go back and forth between the handle and the resonate part to see if you can fine tune a little bit. So for example, Barbara was saying, I know you were there, and and if as a listener was saying, oh, so you know you were there, just reflect back, and she would check. No, and it's not about, she would correct herself so that the resonant would be even more perfect. She would fine tune in it. It's not about, I know that you're there. It's more about, I didn't wish actually that you come today to this session. It's more about that. And when you say, oh, it awakes something even deeper, it resonates even deeper with what the issue is about. So this is a very important moment of allowing ourselves that our symbolic expression resonates with actually what our body is saying. And this is the fifth and the sixth part is the part that we as MasterChef students more can benefit from it. Because once we fine tune what the problem really is, we are in the position of actually asking something to it. Because now the felt sense in the issue is an it that has as life, as intelligence. And sometimes the problem with our stuff is that we don't actually recognize very well the problem. we put labels into it too fast, and we think it's something. But if we unpack, we reach something much more unique to our own experience. And if we ask, it will reveal even in a more outstanding way. And if it will reveal, we allow it to receive. So this asking and receiving is just amazing. And if your channels are open, you ask properly the question that is rightly framed, the answer is it will be even more exact. But because we all know, even with our channels are open, if you're not approach the problem with the right angle, the answer will come wherever they come. But if you marinate, if you cook with it, and we stay with it, and we shift with it, and now it's ready eventually to, to open up. This asking and receiving is the most incredible part of focusing. Uh, I think I can reveal this. There's no issue here because there is no content. But again, in the retreat, I was with Howie and David Ruggles in the same room. We end up at a certain stage of our process to ask, do soul communication right in this point. This is the right point. So soul communication where the stuff was already recognized, and I got the phone, and I would tape what he was receiving, and it was like, whoa. From that point on, what is this? Like you can call, your shifus, your guidance, your yuanshan, and then what is this after all? And then soon you ask and receive. But you seek to come to this place of asking. There's an incredible work that has been done before to really fine tune our what the matter really is. Because if we ask like when we're not ready, or we don't know, we don't want to know the answer anyway, nothing will happen. uh, and so that's the beauty of it. It's like the 50% that Master Shas talks about. We do our 50%, the human stuff, to recognize, to be humble enough to recognize what is at stake here. And sometimes it's very slippery. And once you do that, we ask totally, we surrender to this asking, and you receive. Of course, generally the focusing movement would not teach in this way. We can teach in this way here. I would have to teach something else. The asking and receiving, it's also the most difficult things for the general public to understand. What is that asking and receiving? Asking the stuff? What is that? But somehow they understand it. Like this felt sense has a wisdom here. And whoa, if I ask, for example, Diana, she was like connect with something heavier, and like she was like, and if both of us would ask that thing as an entity, what is that? It will reveal itself much more in a safe environment, safe container. It's not like if it's not ready, it will close. Everything has a soul, as Barbara said, exactly. It's like, but in a safe container, you don't want, if something is too heavy and it doesn't want to be explored, this is not possible to go there, but it will close naturally because this is the spirit of the compassion. It asks. If it answers, it will answers flourish. It's like if it keeps attacking, it just stop. Okay, no, I don't want anything now to this topic. We don't force anything here. The only thing that we work with is something that is ready to be healed. Nothing else. We don't force, because there's many therapies out there that really force things, primal scream and this and that. They go into the emotion and they recreate the trauma, for example. And it's not helpful at all. That's not what we're doing here. We will feel it if it's gentle. This is a very gentle process. So Let me see. Barba, slow what comes. Everything has a soul. Slow the process. What comes up is asking to be seen and heard, acknowledged. Exactly. I can understand. I have a partner here in the in the teaching because Barba feels she has a pretty good knowledge of what this is about. So the Heart Center LA is saying, I wonder if the young approach is using the authority to clear. Let me check again. I wonder if the yang approach is using the authority to clear dimension karma while the yin approach is going into the Wu.
Here, let me explain my question. So earlier you said that Master Wu has a very yang style of leading this process. And you know how Master Sha teaching is like Dao hands first layer is like third dimension and it clears 60% of the the karma, right? And then fourth dimension Dao hands is clear another, I forgot the percentages, please forgive me, and then, but there is, like you said, the benefit of the yang approach and the yin approach. The yang approach is, by the authority of my first layer Dao hands, by the authority of my Dao, the Da, I Dao, the Dao Quan Shu Dao hands. This is what my laser light can do for this particular blockage. And then when you have how about that? Hello, I know you're there, but I'm not really doing anything. That's like Wu Wei, right? Doing, not doing. So it's like by being in the Wu Wei state, we can actually, we're not forcing something, but then we can potentially release a higher dimensional karma, but not by forcing it, but by just like doing nothing about it, right? We just giving it space. And
Yeah,
and I think that, like you said, there is both the yang approach and the yin approach, right? The yang approach is to recognize, well, you know what, if you want to charge people for like Dao Da Da I or Dao Da Da Quan Shu or whatever layer Dao hands that you have, it might require a certain yang style, because when you
right.
do yang style, it's like you give one order, one command, boom, it's done, right? And, that's why like a calligraphy with a leading teacher can cost you 5-figure, right? Because that level of karma and that level of dimension can clear that amount. And at the same time, we can also lead clients into this kind of yin approach where, okay, we're not forcing anything. And so, then maybe we charge $200 instead of like, you know what I mean? So I think there's like
So I really enjoyed that topic. You know why? Because that's an open question. It needs more research to see how it will be combined, because this is totally totally different approaches that I feel in my heart that they have a connection, as the ruling is showing, and there's a clear connection, but it needs some research, and I'm doing that to see how they cross actually, because it's not just about the yin approach and doing nothing. In a way it is, and in a way it's not, and it's not just a yang. It never is just only one. It's always both interplay. It's a matter of emphasis, and in terms of authorities, I cannot say anything about it because I really don't know. But what I do know, and we can recognize here very clearly, if Master Sha clears something, or if that calligraphy is given, you do not solve the issues like this. You need to work it out, always. You need to create meaning into your life. It's not just a clearing and that's it. And that meaning, it's our job. The constructing of meaning from the bottom up of your life, to know what life is really about for you. that no transmission can do that for you. The transmission clears the blockage, opens the pathway, but you need to keep crossing, create your own symbols, create your own approach to life and your uniqueness of life. That's the bottom-up process as opposed to top-down. And so that also maybe we can actually deliver something that is more promised less and deliver more, because this here is about the meaning of our own life as opposed to actually a free ride from the source, which it's really helpful. Everyone has benefit from it, but you still have to ride your life. And so that's like where the meaning, it's very yin. When we talk about what's the meaning, it's very yin in a way. And if we talk about this way, that way, that way, we follow and we receive. It's done. It's a done deal. It's a unit model that it's cut. It's already packaged and it's done. But then there's the next moment, and then they have the next talk with another person, then the next feeling, and what do you do with that? And so, yeah, I think it's a very good area actually to research upon it. And I'm collaborating with Rulin, by the way, you might know, and I hope we can reach, because you talked about the woo world. Yes, this dimension, I believe, when we go to the felt sense and we go to the kind of something that it's non-label, we access to something. And I got checking from a master teacher that confirmed this. What Jen was after was the blur condition of the woo world. This is when you feel the felt sense. It's quite blurred, didn't you notice? It's like you go to this space of, oh gosh, this is mud. Oh, this is heavy, and you're not accessing it from your mind or even your emotion. It's not either anger or depression. You don't label this, and you just, oh, this is or this cut here, or this something in my. You actually go to the blur condition in a way, in a certain level, and that's very interesting to explore how the blur condition actually can help us to clear our blockages. We know Master Sha tells us the Kung actually is the place where everything can be solved. And Kung is the real meaning. It's emptiness, but it's also fullness. So I would say that, and Barbara has some informations here. Let me check. It takes both. Yeah, the answer. For the process to flow, yang maybe see the reveal. Maybe see the reveal, yes. And the yin allows acts to express itself through the feeling. Exactly, all yang. It would likely go nowhere. All yin would float and go nowhere either. Exactly. Universal law. Yin and yang is in everything and can be out of balance, perhaps. Aspect showing itself is yang in expression to be seen, and yin to gently follow where it leads. I totally agree with this. I totally agree. I think I even wrote this today to a group. I know Diana is kind of, it's too late. Is it too late for you yet? Can you, like, are you ready for another exercise, or just the last one? But it's okay if you need to go to rest.
That's when the conscious mind is very open. So when you're tired or like you're almost falling asleep. So let's
So
do
you're
one
good?
last
But
exercise. Yeah.
I think it's just more 25 minutes or something, 20 minutes. So with this in mind, um, let's work a bit about our lives.